And Jack, we've already got McLaren moaning about the fact that if they don't get their requests met, they may leave F1, which in my eyes, I just think that's mind games again from one of the big teams, and they'll stay in the future. Jack, what do you think to Zach Brown? Because, you can change the rules and regulations as much as you like, but McLaren at the moment don't even know what a podium looks like.
No, their first priority is making sure they're actually doing well in races before moaning about what's going on in terms of the hierarchy. But I also think you look at what Ferrari have done over the last 10 years. They threatened to leave the sport and they get a few extra million at the end of the season. So
yeah, thanks, Bernie.
Yeah, I think that's what McLaren are trying to do in this stage. But yeah, a really important meeting. The Liberty Media who run F1, the FIA, and all the bigwigs at the teams will be at this conference in London to discuss the future of F1. So hopefully they decide important things and not stupid things that we have seen in the past, like that. Was it one-shot qualifying or knockout round qualifying that they decided to do, which was absolutely
lasted
awful.
for one race.
Yeah, because it was that bad. But hopefully they have important decisions to decide, and even if that means talking about the future in terms of bringing new teams in. We've discussed this. There's not enough teams. There's too many drivers that don't get in anymore. Esteban Ocon lost his seat last year just because there wasn't enough seats in the sport, whether that be for money or...
See, this is why I kind of wish they'd consider having 3 car teams again back in F1, because that would help people like Ocon out. But yeah, again, all the teams probably can't afford to have 3 cars in the garage. They're very expensive, and
Williams is struggling to get 1 car, mate.
So. Yeah. So, can you imagine if HRT and catering back there?
Williams only have enough. Well, they don't have a lot of spare parts for their cars, don't they? They only have 1 floor. You have to take. They can't ride the curbs. Apparently,
they only have 4 tires.
Yeah,
for the whole season.
No. I was being serious about they can't ride the curbs that much because they actually only got 1 floor for their cars. They got no replacements. So
Williams F1.
Well, there was a news story this week saying that they found a fundamental issue with the car. However, it's going to take months.
Make them go faster now.
It's going to take months. It's going to take months of development, which means that they probably won't be ready till the Monaco Grand Prix or later on, which will be May June time.
Singapore.
Singapore, right at the bloody end. But again, the Williams are still having issues. But yeah, in terms of the FIA board meeting, I hope that obviously gets solved, and we might hear some news for the Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend.
What do you want to see come out of it?
I don't know, because it's difficult to say. There's so many decisions that need to be thought out. We need to make sure what the track list is for next season. Silverstone's still in doubt. Whether there's actually going to be a British Grand Prix. It doesn't matter whether it's at Silverstone. Me and you aren't really that bothered about Silverstone itself, but we need a British Grand Prix in general. Obviously, we talked about earlier that the Vietnam Grand Prix is currently being built. But if they add that to the calendar, that's 1 extra race, which is already a packed calendar throughout the year. So does that mean losing races that are already on it? Germany, we said, under pressure. The British Grand Prix and Mexico have all got their contracts that need renewing. So, there's some things that we need to discuss. And of course, making sure that these teams stay in the sport and trying to make it easier for other teams to make it in. That's never going to happen because the money is just extreme unless you do something like a Haas where you join the sport but buying from somebody else, like they did with Ferrari. They bought the Ferrari engine, suspension, gearbox, everything,
and then they bought in Steiner.
Yeah, well, Gunther Steiner is amazing.
Brilliant. He is brilliant.
But yes, I think we just need to see these plans, and I think the fans need to see. You can't just say everything's going well behind the scenes. I think you need to show the fans what's happening during the process, because if we don't find out and then suddenly they announce all these decisions and they're terrible and they can't change their mind because they've had years of progression, then that's
it's
just
like Brexit all over again.
Yeah, that's just going to be an absolute mess. So for me, I just think we need to see the plans as they evolve.
Well, anyway, we will wrap up with a Bahrain race prediction. Of course, second race in. I love this race because of the sparks that come out of the cars. I don't know why it doesn't happen at any other track. Even in Singapore, you don't see any spark, and for some reason, Bahrain just goes everywhere. Pieces are going everywhere on the straight. It's absolutely brilliant. You start to get blinded and think it's Back to the Future or something like that. Thinking, oh my God, I'm going back in time.
It is with a Williams and a McLaren. They are going backwards.
Yeah. But what do you think? Who do you have in mind to win the second race? Because honestly would love to just see Bottas win again.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be awesome. But I think you said that if it was and one like last time where he was 20 seconds ahead, that would show how dominant he is. But I would quite like for it to be the first top 4 drivers in around a 15-second gap of each other, or in a group of 15 seconds.
Or just like this, really close,
really close,
like
really
actually
close.
crashing into each other.
Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc are going to fight up the front. And
Maybe they should learn something from MotoGP.
And Formula E.
And Formula E, where there's actual racing going on. Conor, who do you think is going to win?
Bottas and the beard.
Well, Christian Horner said that the Bahrain Grand Prix will show the true pecking order of F1. So Ferrari don't come to show in this one, with the Bahrain Grand Prix being a historic track where you've got long straights, you go high speed, but then you have to have traction in order to get around those tight corners, the low speed corners, and Ferrari seems to have been built like that.
And they won there last year as well, so that might help.
I think Ferrari will get the constructors' title at Bahrain, but I think a Mercedes is going to win, and it's either going to be Hamilton or Bottas that's going to be spraying the rose water at the end of the race, not the champagne.
Lovely bit of rose water.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine having that, and imagine going to Abu Dhabi though, because they have a season-ending party, all the teams do, etc. And then you find out, can we drink? No, it's rose water. Yay! Been travelling to 21 Grand Prix all year, and I'm ending it with rose water. Thank you, Middle East.